This is Brianna here with another Top 5 Wednesday video. Top 5 Wednesday is of course created by the lovely Lainey at Ginger Reads Lainey. All the links to Lainey's YouTube page and the Goodreads group for Top 5 Wednesday will be in the description. This week, Top 5 Wednesday is Top 5 Books to Read by the Fire. Now, I have not actually had a fireplace since I was maybe 5 years old, but I do love getting cozy, wrapping up in a blanket with some hot cocoa and a book during the winter time. So I'm going to choose the top 5 books that I just really love to reread during winter, and the books that make me feel cozy and at home. So these books are in no particular order because I couldn't think of any sort of order to put them in. And there are 4 books that are really cozy, that just make me think of family and home in the holidays, and 1 book that I just like to reread. I don't know. The first book is one that I originally watched the movie when I was really young, and ever since I love watching the movie and reading the book around Christmas and the holidays. And that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I just always remember reading this and thinking of my own family. So it's very cozy, very warm, and I just really enjoy it. I think it's a great book. It's fun to reread during the winter. And I like to reread it and then watch the movie, because I saw the movie first, and I will always love Little Women, the movie, because it reminds me of my grandmother. The next one is a book that has a special place in my heart, and that is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I had heard the story hundreds of times growing up. I feel like everyone knows the story of A Christmas Carol, but I never actually read it until I was in the play when I was a junior in high school. And I got to play Mrs. Cratchit, so I was the mother to a lovely family and Tiny Tim, and it was a lot of fun being involved in this production, and it just gave me a lot of fond feelings for this book. And I also went and saw it with one of my best friends for her birthday when they made the Jim Carrey animated version. And while I'll always prefer reading it or seeing the stage play, I just really love the story of Scrooge and the ghosts of Christmas past and present, and the many ways it's presented on stage and in movies. So A Christmas Carol is always going to be very special to me. The next one is something that is, actually I think all of these books are really associated with people that I love. This book was given to me by one of my best friends in middle school before she moved away, and I did not read it until I actually graduated from university. And I feel like it says something that I kept a hold of this book even though it didn't mean much to me aside from it was given to me by my friend. But that book is Where the Heart Is by Billy Letts. And this is a book about a young woman being a mother and raising her child in a Walmart and finding a home in a small town in America. And it's a really family-oriented book, and I enjoy reading it, and all of these books are really family for me. Like, they're all about family and friends. And this one, I only just read it last year, but it is definitely something that has taken up a place of importance, and it's definitely something that is a nice book to read all warm and cozy, especially with some hot chocolate or coffee or tea or any sort of hot beverage. It's just a lot of fun, and it's really enjoyable, even when there are some moments of angst and family horror and bad things happening. It's still a really comforting book, and I think that's what I enjoy reading in the holidays. The next one is a bit of a classic, bit of a safe choice, and that is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I feel like any holiday is an excuse for ABC Family to play a marathon of the Harry Potter movies. But I feel like marathoning the books is also something that you do during the holidays. People either reread the books over summer break or over winter break, or both. And I feel like reading it in the winter is especially cozy and homey because I read these books as they came out, and they always make me feel nostalgic when I read them. They remind me of my childhood and growing up because you know, if you grew up with Harry Potter, then reading it and rereading it is always going to make you feel like a child, and it's going to remind you of your childhood and your family, and that's what it does for me. The last book that I have is a bit misplaced, but it's one that I started reading when I was in 7th grade, and I feel like all through high school I read it once a year, and that is Cold Fire by Dean Koontz. This book is about a man who has some sort of mystical power that he can connect with tragedies that are about to happen, and he can sort of foresee this tragedy and he goes to prevent it. He'll travel all across the United States and try to prevent tragedies. And it's sort of like him discovering himself and remembering his own childhood. And I feel like that's something that is an important part of the cozy holiday feel, is family and childhood. And I feel like I've said that a million times in this video, but I also think that it's super important. That's why this topic made me think of this specific book, because, you know, sometimes you're just really connected to something for no particular reason, and that's how I feel with this book. It was the first adult book that I ever purchased and read for myself, and it has a special place in my heart, and I will always remember picking this book off the drugstore bookshelf and taking it home and just devouring it every year for several years because it was important to me. So remembering the power of this book is something that I really like to do around the holidays. Those are my top 5 books for books to read by the fire. Even though I don't actually have a fire, I think of it as books to read with a nice hot beverage and a blanket and a sweater, and when it's cold outside. If you have any favorites that you like to read in the wintertime, or if you agree with anything that I said, or if you think that I am completely crazy and some of these books are not meant for winter at all, leave it in the comments down below. I would love to hear your opinions. That's all for today. I will see you next time.